Next week on Seeds of Gold, an enterprising mixed farmer, Mukasa Muawia, shared the concept of making millions from breeding rabbits. With over 50 acres of land, his urge to utilize the land has seen him expand his farm into a multiple livestock production. Before we could leave his farm, we came across an averagely 60 kilogram size Boer goat, a rare breed of South African origin, but even more interesting were the three other varieties of goats: the Savannah, Local Muvende breed, and a Prospectus Honamli goat. The target: breeding size for meat. Tonight on Seeds of Gold, increasing the profitability of goat farming through breeding. Coming up,
I zeroed down to Honamli because I saw in 3 years I can have that goat here crossed with the breeds that are available, and we can have a good meat yield, because at the end what we are looking at is meat. To have a sustainable market, we can sustain that market with meat.
Boer goats are said to be the largest of the goat breeds. A mature male Boer can weigh up to 80 kilograms and a mature Boer Bax can weigh up to 100 kilograms. They are known for a high growth rate and may gain in excess weight of 0.2 kilograms per day under feedlot conditions. These, among other reasons, are Mukasa's choices on the breeds seen here.
When I started this farm in 2018, I was doing a lot of research. Even before I started the farm, when I had the idea of farming, because I got the interest, so I started doing research about what am I going to do and how am I going to do it, and what do I want to achieve. So when I thought about goats, in the expos I've been attending, we attended an expo in Turkey. It's called Grazing. It happens every December up to January there. So when we were in Turkey, we visited an association. It is called the Honamli Goats and Sheep Breeders Association. So when we visited them, they have a goat. Actually, what triggered my mind, and I said, no, I should do this. They have a goat that weighs 180 kilograms at 2 years. So when I saw that, I was inspired. Then I started doing plans. How can we get that goat down here in Uganda, and how can we breed and have that goat here? So I zeroed down to Honamli because I saw in 3 years I can have that goat here crossed with the breeds that are available, and we can have a good meat yield, because at the end what we are looking at is meat. To have a sustainable market, we can sustain that market with meat. Currently, we don't have enough meat because we don't have a butcher for goats where you can go and get goats on a daily basis. Maybe in town it can be there, but in the villages and other suburbs of Kampala, you see a butcher is for cow and for cow's meat, and once in a while they even put goats there. But sometimes you go there and they don't have. So to have a sustainable market for meat, we need to go back to the drawing board and breed so that we can have meat.
Keeping goats for meat production can be a daunting task when choosing which breeds are best for the job. While any goat breed can be raised for meat, specific types are bred specifically for the virtues most important for producing edible meat. This is Mukasa's choice.
When we are targeting meat, we are looking for animals that can give us meat and in the shortest period. So if you look at the Boer that is currently available with the farmers, that can give you a maximum of 80 kilograms, and at a period I think of 1 or 2 years, it can give you that much, and it grows very fast. At 6 months, it can even give you 35 kilograms or 40, whereby the local one will give you that meat almost at a year plus. But at 8 months, 9 months, a Boer can give you that weight, a Savannah can give you that weight. Even breeding, at 8 months, it's mature, it's ready to mate and start giving birth. I started searching about the breeds that I can have. So before I went to Turkey, I was looking at Savannah Boer crossed with locals. So what I did, I went out to farmers and I was choosing out those goats that give birth to 2, 3 and big ones, because my target was to cross them with the Boers, so that at least one can have a good cross that can give us good meat, and that put on weight very fast, and also start breeding very fast. So I bought local ones, but those of Ezorudio Lulunji, the good. So when I bought them, then I bought a Boer. You'll see it. I bought a Boer male, which is a percentage of 95% to cross with these goats.
His biggest breed weighs 60 kilograms in size, which he has crossbred with the Savannah and again with the local Mubende breed for the reasons that he wants to attain a breed that can successfully survive well in his tropical environment, but most importantly, raise the amount of meat suitable for commercial goat farming. He explains why size matters.
If you're doing goat farming as a business, we are focusing on business. Where is the business? Actually, where is the business? Is in selling meat and selling breeds, maybe even with the skin. But now we are focusing more on meat. So we're looking at an animal which will give us much kgs at a low age. Okay, because you also look at how long you look after this goat to give you this much of kgs. Okay, so that's why we're looking for those animals that are improved, that will give us more meat in the shortest period of time. So like a Boer, which will give you maximum 80 kgs or minimum around 35 to 40 kgs at a period of 6 months. Yes, whereby a local one cannot give you that much of kgs. And if you have 40 kgs of meat, times say omtwalo gumu n'ekitundu, how much is that? When you sell that meat at maybe at 15,000, so you see how much you have made in 6 months. Whereby the local goat, even at 1 year, it might not be able to give you that much of meat, which will turn into the money.
Goats efficiently convert sub-quality grazing matter that is less desirable for other livestock into quality lean meat. Furthermore, goats can be farmed with a relatively small area of pasture and limited resources. This is his recommendation for anyone following his footsteps.
The goats business on a commercial scale, one, you look at investing in the breeds. So make sure you get the right breeds that will attain weight faster and grow faster, so that you also look at your return on investment. When will you get your money back? So you look at animals that will grow faster and also give you much meat, or more meat. After that, you have to look at their shelter, where they're going to stay. We advise a raised structure whereby the droppings will go through and they are collected, so that the goats don't access their droppings, because then it will lead to diseases, and then treating will be another expense. So it's better you prevent than treating. So majorly it is the breeds that you're going to use when you're breeding or when you're farming, then the structure, and also where they're going to graze from, if you want free range. Feeding of the goats, goats are very easy to feed because they eat less. Here we release them at between 12 to 1, because they don't eat in the morning. The grass still has that wetness which will affect them. It has dew which will affect them. So we release them, they go for 2 hours. They just collect. So they come here, sit, and then they start eating. Actually, the goats eat they eat when they are back. When they go to graze, they just collect. So with that, when they come back, because we're having feeds that are not used in the rabbits, so we bring and also give them. We have the hay which is not used in the rabbits. We come and just supplement them, but mainly they go to the field and eat for themselves. So just have to arrange where they are going to graze, and they'll graze, eat, and come back. Goats still don't drink so much, but because we need meat, we have to give them water available 24 hours. Anytime they want, they have to take water, because once the more water they take, the more meat you will get.
Most meat producers find it ideal to select a good full breed back and breed him with several mixed breed nannies. Whatever market you find for your goat's meat will determine how much input you would need. However, watch out for the kinks when rearing goats.
The most hectic part about raising the goats, I think it is the time when they are giving birth. Because at that point you have to take maximum attention on the kids so that they don't get infected, and also the mother so that they can produce well. That's the only part where you have to pay much attention when they're giving birth and taking care of the kids, because our money is in the kids, what they have produced. Because they're the ones that we're going to sell. We are not selling our breeders. Yeah, even if you're selling breeds, you'll sell what they have produced. No, you don't sell the mother, because the mother now that is your stock. So you won't sell your stock. We are selling the kids. What they have produced is what we are selling to other breeders that are going to start breeding. What they have produced is what we slaughter for meat. We don't slaughter our breeders. So we have to take care of them, because now that is the business. That's where the business is. Yes, off-breeding is there when they got maybe a caddy has overgrown. Yes.
In which case then you have to replace it?
In which case you have to replace. I think it depends on how even you've taken care of, because it can give birth to even 5 years. But it depends how you have been taking care of it. And also, when they grow old, they start misbehaving. When maybe it was giving you triplets or double, now start giving birth to one. It is experiencing abortion. So in those cases, when they grow old, they start developing those things. So then you can offset them off.
Goats are relatively easy to keep, which explains why it's a common subsistence practice around many homes. But what are the advantages of commercial versus hobby goats keeping?
The advantages of farming goats for business over those people that are doing it on as a hobby, or as a hobby or fun, something like that, it's that this is business. If you look at it, it is business, because if you have one goat, in a span of 1 year, you'll have 4 goats. So when you have 4 goats, you say the gestation period is 6 months. After 6 months, you'll have 2. Another 6 months, you'll have another 2. So you'll have 4. By the time the mother is giving birth to the 3rd time, also the first 2 will giving birth. Okay. So if someone was doing it as a hobby that you just want meat, now you have meat, you have even more than a meat, because you have now, at the end of 1 year, you'll have 5 goats. So 5 goats, if you wanted meat, still you'll eat 1. And you have a surplus which you can sell and even get money. So if you take it in the business sense, you can have your hobby and have business at the same time. So just grow that. When you look at the cost of having 1 goat, say for the urban farmers, it is just having someone who maybe even made at home, or your kids will go out and put the goat to the bush. So the cost is minimal, almost coming to zero. But still, even if you've been buying grass, say you're buying the sweet napier and feeding it on that grass, when it gives birth to 2, you can sell 1 and get your cost of even the cost of buying the goat and even buying the feeds you've been using to feed it. We can use hay. We can attach it on hay, because a bale of hay, which around 100, which are around 10 kilograms, it's around between 10 to 15,000. Yes, which is a kg of meat, and the goat can feed on that. If it is 1 goat, can feed on that for a month. When you're giving it other things, even the droppings from the kitchen, the peelings. So having 1 goat, you really spend nothing almost.
How then does one without land to grow pasture for the goats support the feeding process?
If someone doesn't have land where to do the grazing, we can do goats on zero grazing. We've seen even those urban farmers, people who are in other countries, they're doing goats on zero grazing. And the advantage of doing goats on zero grazing, you can easily monitor it. You prevent it also from the diseases, because here we are spraying every week. That is a cost which someone who's doing zero grazing will not incur. So there are some costs you've cut by doing it zero grazing. Also, you're saving cost of buying the land. So you can do it zero grazing. Doesn't need a very big space like for the cows. Just in a very small space, you can keep your goats there. I've seen people having goats in their compounds. They have a house there where they keep the goats. When he's coming from town, he carries those peelings and brings for them. Even what they have from the kitchen, they give them. Even they can even tie them around there. So keeping 1, 2, 3, up to 10 goats, you don't even need to have land. You can do it on zero grazing. But if you're doing it now commercial, on a large scale, there you'll need land.
We now take a look at the day in the life of Mukasa's goats farm.
Normal day for the goats, in the morning, we clean. I have 2 farm hands that take care of the goats, the cows and the donkeys. So in the morning, after milking the cows, they release them to go, because for them they go. Then they start cleaning. We clean down, and even in the prey area. Yes, and maybe just looking after them, which one is not okay. If there is any problem, then the doctor will be passing through and maybe treating them and saying generally they are healthy, health-wise. So at around 12 to 1, they guide them to the grazing area. So they leave them there to graze up to around 3 or 4 maximum. Then they come back. The water will be ready for them. So they come, they find water. Also, when we have got some pellets from the rabbits, we usually give them. And also the hay, because we're giving rabbits hay and pellets. So we also supplement them. So in the evening, at around 8, 7, we do smoking for them to chase away the flies and the mosquitoes. And they also like that warmth, so they stay around there.
What then does the future hold for Mukasa's goat farm?
Initially when I was starting, I had a different perspective. Not until I traveled to Turkey, then it changed all my plans, because I was looking at Boers that will give me 80 kilograms. Then I saw a better option will give me double what I was thinking. So I switched to that goat called Honamli. So when we went there, we sat, agreed, and signed a contract with them to supply me with those goats. So when we came back, I went to Nagrik, Naro. They gave me the permits and everything, and I also made a deposit. I made a deposit to them where they were supposed to bring them. I had purchased 10 of those goats, and my plan is to breed that goat here, like what Mr. Sembegwe did with the Boers. So my plan was, I still have the plan, but it's just delayed due to this COVID and closure of the airport. I had a plan of, my plan is to import 10 Honamli goats. So with the 10, I expect to have five grazing areas where we're going to be keeping them. In one, we'll put the five pure females that I would have brought with one male. Then the 4, I'll give one male to Boer crosses. I'll give one male to Savannah crosses. I'll give one male to Mubende goats, because currently it is the best local goat that we're having. Then I'll give one male to others, and I see how they perform. Because if I mix an genes that can give me 80 kilograms with genes that can give me 180, I want to see what I will have. So after 6 months, we'll be receiving our first birth, where we expect at least it to be at 50%. So meaning I'll have 50% of a Savannah and a Honamli. I'll have 50% of a Boer and a Honamli. I'll have 50% of a Mubende and a Honamli, and 50% of any other goats that we'll select, and then 100% of the other ones that are 100%.
On average, a 30-kilogram weighted goat will cost about 300,000 Ugandan shillings, and each kilogram will be sold at about 13,000 Ugandan shillings to 15,000 Ugandan shillings, depending on the market. This makes it quite profitable on both ends, which explains why it is marketable. Raising goats for meat can be a great thing to do for your own family, to provide for your food needs, but it can also be a profitable farm business if thought through carefully and with an eye to where you will market it. Goats farming can build you a sustainable income. Goats farming can build you a sustainable income.